Hello and welcome to all of our attendees. Hello panelists, it's lovely to see you. Hi everyone, welcome, and we shall get started. So this webinar is a part of Girls on Track UK and the whole initiative, which is also managed by Motorsport UK, and this webinar is being recorded, so don't worry if you guys have to dip out, but you can basically come back and watch later. It will be in the Girls on Track Facebook group. But yeah, pop your questions down in the Q&A function. We will get started, and let's just introduce ourselves to our panelists. So hi Claire, hi Carrie, how are the both of you?
Steph, really good, and a lovely day.
It is a wonderful day.
For those that are in the UK, probably experiencing the same thing.
Yeah, really good, thank you, Steph.
Wonderful. Right, let's get started. And I think everyone will be really intrigued to just get a little bit of background about the both of you before we dive into all of the Forum 7 things. So why don't we start with you, Claire, because both of these wonderful ladies have an incredible background in motorsport, and I'm sure all of you guys are very interested to know how they started out and how they've got to where they are now. So we'll start with you, Claire. Do you want to just give a little background about how you got to where you are today?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks very much. And so I guess I was always interested in all sports, but particularly motorsport. And back in my corporate life, so I studied technology and languages at university, had the opportunity to work in a tech company, and they became a sponsor of Williams in Formula One. And I was fortunate enough to be asked to manage that program in-house as a sponsorship manager. So my background in the technology company was marketing, and had the opportunity to pick that up and then become global sponsorship manager looking after Formula One and sailing. And so yeah, that's sort of how I made the transition effectively from sort of, I guess, a regular job into motorsport and into sport. So yeah, long time ago now, 25 years ago almost. So been around in the motorsport paddocks for quite a while.
And I'm sure many of our attendees are wanting to get into the motorsport industry. But Carrie, you also have extensive experience over many motorsports. So how about you give a little bit of an introduction?
Yeah, my name is Carrie. I work for an agency that Claire set up, I think, over 20 years ago. And I actually, similar to Claire, studied languages and politics at university. Went to go and work for a software company in recruitment. But while I was doing that, started to write in motorsport. I decided that motorsport was the way forward for me, and that's what I wanted to do. And that got me noticed, particularly by Claire, who then reached out to me, and I've been working with her for the last 4.5 years. Across a wide variety of different sort of roles. And I think that's a really good thing about my job is no 2 days are the same. So I've worked as a press officer in series like Formula E, WRC, WTCR, and most recently ETCR, which has been really exciting, really varied. But it's also been nice to support our clients both in motorsport and without sort of in other industries as well, with their sort of content and communications, which is my specialism.
Fantastic. So Claire, you set up SQN many years ago now, but it is very, very successful. Do you want to just explain to everyone the work that you do and how that's taken you in communications, in hospitality? It's taken you all over the place in motorsport, really, hasn't it?
Absolutely, Steph. So set up originally for marketing, sponsorship and communications. Really helping originally tech brands, because that's what I knew and where I came from, the tech industry. And actually technology companies in motorsport and sponsorship are looking to do things that are a bit different to normal sort of FMCG brands that just really want to get the logo noticed and build awareness, whereas technology brands want to showcase their products and services and actually be able to tell a story. So that's really the key thing and the differentiator probably for technology brands over other brands in sport. Yeah, we grew. We started out in Formula One because that's obviously where my background and my network were. Gone into MotoGP, as Carrie said, World Rally, World Endurance, Formula E, and really branched out. And I think also that technology only really lent itself to motorsport when we set the business up, but now it's in all sports. So that gives us the opportunity, you know, we've worked in cycling, we've worked in rowing, and other sports as well. So really giving you the opportunity to work in different multiple sort of facets, if you like. And sponsorship, I guess, is sort of what I really love and sort of my passion. And when you get into an activation with sponsorship, it covers all the different elements of the marketing mix. So it will be PR and comms, it could be advertising, it's hospitality, it's hosting people at events, you know, and then actually doing the sponsorship deals themselves. So looking for brands to put into motorsport, identifying what their needs might be, matching them to the right team or the right championship based on what their geography maybe or where their target customers are, and all those sorts of things. So pretty exciting. And you know, in terms of my specialism, I guess it's actually doing the deals in the first place, but then it's also a lot of the event-based work, so running events in Formula One around the world. Steph, looking at your tracks behind, I've been to a fair few of those over my time. But also, you know, running hospitality programs for, you know, anything from 5 to 100 people at Formula One races, at MotoGP races. And, you know, that's from anything from organising their flights. So, you know, we had a program at World Rally probably a couple of years ago. We had people from Peru, we had people from Chile, we had people from Australia and New Zealand. We'd be organising all their travel to the event, taking care of them during the event, and then making sure that they were safely on their way home.
That's fantastic. So as you guys can see, Claire has done a multitude of jobs in the motorsport industry, as has Carrie. But one of our questions that has come in before the webinar began was, how do you get into motorsport, or how do you get a job in motorsport? And we had another question as well which relates, which is, what are the best things and courses to study once you get to college and university if you know that you want to be getting into the motorsport industry?
Best thing that I did was studied something I loved, which was not motorsport related at all. It was German with international relations, but it gave me that drive to go and do something outside of my comfort zone and be curious and seek out things that I really thought was interesting in that area. And I think particularly with my role, the versatility means that you can go and pick up skills anywhere and they will be transferable to this role, and actually having that mix of different things is really beneficial rather than specializing very early on. At least for me, that's how it really worked, being able to take experience that I'd got through my university degree and initially going into recruitment in a software company and bringing that into my role in motorsport has helped me hugely. So if you have a passion for history or physics or English literature, I would say go and study those things first and worry about tying it back to motorsport later, because there's other ways. There's no one perfect way to get into motorsport. And I think I am one of those, the evidence of that, because it wasn't a linear path for me. I had to take many side steps before Claire came and found me and brought me onto my current pathway. But you can do student journalism, is really helpful. Start your own blog like I did. I did that for 9 months. Thankfully, it's no longer findable on the internet, because I'm not sure I was as good a writer as I am now. But I would say go and do something that gets you really passionate and gets your creativity flowing, and then find other avenues that you can tie it back to motorsport. But don't feel you have to specialize so early on, is my best piece of advice.
Yeah.
Anything to add? Yeah,
well, I would absolutely second that. I mean, you know, my degree was really broad, and that I did that for a reason, so I didn't sort of have to specialize too early. And I had different modules as degrees are today as well. And I think keeping that breadth is really important. And then it means that you can turn your hand to different things. If you try something you don't like it doesn't mean to say that you're stuck in a particular avenue. You can turn and you can change. And I think, you know, for me, variety is everything about my work, and no 2 days are the same. And probably no 2 days have been the same probably for the last 30 years. So, you know, I think for me that's something that is really appealing and exciting, and you know, I guess it gives you opportunities to do different things, and to, you know, one day I could, you know, as it happens, I'm working at the PGA at the golf this weekend, so, you know, I'm on site working with hospitality, but, you know, also working on some social media posts, actually looking at doing a sponsorship deal. So, you know, in any given day, there's lots of different things, but it is all related to sport and primarily motorsport.
Fantastic. So I hope that helped you guys and was good advice for you. We wish you luck in your ventures towards a motorsport in the future. We hope to see some of you getting involved in a few years' time. But we'll move on and we will start with talking about Phorum, which is why we are all here, talking about pHorum7, which is a brand new company that you guys have set up and has just launched today. Claire, you start, and why don't you just tell everybody what Phorum is to begin with?
Yeah, so pHorum7 is a esports agency. We're looking at how we can help underrepresented groups get involved with esports and sim racing, particularly using our motorsport heritage to bring a number of different people into the group. You know, we all come from a really strong motorsport background. We've got Johnny Molam, who's professional driver, Gary Eckerold, who actually got me into bike racing, well, actually not racing, but into bikes a very, very long time ago. You know, bringing together, I guess, communications, driver training, motorsport background to really create a community and help people get onto the ladder. I mean, you know, sim racing is a very inexpensive way of starting to get into motor racing. You know, motor racing is pretty expensive, as we all know, but you know, I honestly believe that over a period of time you will get a hybrid racer, and it will be somebody that will compete in sim racing and somebody who will also compete in real racing, and I think that will be a career path for maybe some of you out there that are listening that that fancy that avenue. But yeah, definitely you know, that's what pHorum7 is being set up to do, is to try and help people to get into sim racing and to compete, but also we're going to be running tournaments and engaging with the community. So yeah, our first tournament we're hoping will be a great success in the November timeframe. Yeah, that's a very short intro.
Very short intro indeed. There's a huge amount of things that you guys are aiming to do with pHorum7. So if you guys have any questions, don't forget to drop them in the Q&A box down below. Claire and Carrie will be happy to answer them. If you have any questions about getting involved and how to get started, pop them down below. But Carrie, where did the name pHorum7 come from?
So forum is actually Latin for simulator.
Ah.
We also know that a forum is, you know, a gathering of people to exchange ideas. And also the 7 helps us when we abbreviate forum to pH7 to sort of visualize the alkalinity scale, acid alkalinity. And the reason why we went down this route is one of our core messages is that we are trying to offer a neutral space for people who maybe haven't tried sim racing before, who maybe feel a bit put off by the stereotypical gaming and what it's like and just want to try it out somewhere. So it's a neutral space where we also want to drive positive change, because I think we are all aware that there's a discernible lack of diversity in gaming, and coming from a male-dominated industry in motorsports, we recognize that, you know, our learnings from that industry can also be applied to esports and sim racing. So it's driving positive change to tackle negative issues, which is why pH7 is, or pHorum7 is our name.
Lovely. Well, that's wonderful to hear. And you guys are championing diversity and inclusion and accessibility. So how are you guys managing to implement that in pHorum7, and how are you going to make sure that that is one of your main priorities and everybody has the opportunity to get involved?
In my press officer role, it's getting to people like Girls on Track and the sort of grassroots, and encouraging people who have an interest in motorsport but maybe haven't ventured into sim racing, or, you know, people who feel that they want to give it a go but maybe don't have the opportunity to get involved. And I think our key message is anyone can have a go, and we're really keen to support people who maybe haven't done it before to get in, give it a try, and nurture them as they get, you know, you need to get some good seat time to improve, as we all know. So making sure those opportunities are there, and our tournaments will really help us do that as well. So yeah, getting out and speaking to people is one of our key approaches. And Claire probably has more to add to that as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's, people maybe get put off thinking it's a really expensive thing to do as well. I mean, not as expensive as motorsport, but certainly expensive, and it doesn't have to be cost prohibitive. And I think, one of our key things is to help people work out what they need to do in order to be able to start. If you've got a desk and a relatively inexpensive console and a set of wheels.
Wonderful. So in trying to make it accessible, what if somebody has never done sim racing before, has no idea what they're doing or what they need? How do they get involved with sim racing? How do they start their career, shall we say?
I think if you want to have some fun, as Claire said, it's really easy. You just need a gaming console, so a PlayStation or Xbox, and a game, and you can just play with the hand controller. If you do want to go and venture more into competing competitively, you do need to invest in, as Claire said, the wheels and the pedal, but an entry level set of that would set you back about £250. You will need to migrate to a PC gaming, because most of the tournaments we found in our research host their tournaments on a PC. But if you wanted to try it out, you've never really had a go, there are sim racing centres across the UK. You might be able to take a group of your friends and just have a go. It's a bit like, if you were going to go and try go-karting, you might take a group of friends and have a go. So there are the opportunities to try a sim racing simulator. I did so myself at the Silverstone Museum for the first time a couple of weeks ago. It was pretty fun. And we on pHorum7 are going to hopefully start streaming on Twitch some coaching sessions, which will be me to start with, where my more experienced colleague is going to teach me how to sim race. So if I can do it, I think anyone can.
Definitely. And guys, if you want to be watching those sessions on Twitch, they are pHorum7 on Twitch, but pHorum is with a PH. So make sure you go and search them up and you will be able to get involved over on Twitch. It's also, I think it's the same on Twitter and Instagram if you guys want to keep up to date with what's going on and get involved. Make sure you do, because there is lots to come in the coming months from you guys, isn't there? Okay, I think we're having some trouble with the Q&A box. If you can't get it, just pop a question in the chat because we can see them. So if you have any questions, pop them in the chat and we will begin to answer them. But okay, it's fantastic that it is so easy for everyone to get started out. So just a PlayStation or an Xbox or, the basic esports things, lots of households nowadays have them. And that's how you can get started, and they will be able to compete in the pHorum7 competitions and tournaments with that basic equipment. Is that correct?
And I think we're going to be running tournaments at different levels. So there will be beginners tournaments so that we can get people started and get them racing against people of a similar level, right the way through to more experienced racers that have obviously been racing for some time. We have some connections, as you know, into the motorsport space. So some of the prizes that we may be able to offer could be quite exciting for those that are more advanced over the period of time.
And how good are both of you at sim racing? Have you got the levels of experience like the Formula One experts?
I can certainly say no, I don't. I've got plenty of colleagues who do, and obviously participate with them in terms of support. But no, I don't. I haven't sim raced professionally in any capacity. But we do definitely have a rig in the office. Yeah, it will be something to progress for everybody in the team, actually, as we move forward.
Will we be seeing you compete?
Who knows? Depends how good I am, doesn't it, Steph?
Carrie will be seeing you compete.
Possibly. I did notice that once I stopped going into the gravel traps at Silverstone, I managed to shave 8 seconds off my lap time. So
right. Positive. Yeah. They're on their way there, guys. If you think you could give them a run for your money, make sure you get involved, sign up. And how can they all sign up and get involved? Have sign-ups started yet? Will that be coming in the next couple of months?
Yeah, we'll be coming over the coming weeks, certainly for the initial tournament in the November timeframe. But I think, communicating with us on our channels is the best way of keeping up to speed with what's coming and what's going to be happening. Yeah, we'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, we're really keen to sort of build up a community with pHorum7. So we have a newsletter that we'll be sending out, so people can sign up to our newsletter to find out when the first tournament goes live, but also we're on Discord and we're on Twitch, and we're really keen to have that interaction with people who have questions, who want to know where to start, who maybe have started but need extra guidance. So we will have a regular discussions on our Discord channel. So I recommend people download the app if they haven't done it before. And we have, I think in the event summary that you'll get sent out, we have a link to our pHorum7 Discord that you can join and join us there in the conversation.
Yeah, Discord is fantastic, guys. So if you are not part of the, well, it's just been launched, but get involved with their Discord and meet like-minded people. This is all about driving change, and positive change at that, and making sure that everyone can get involved. So it's going to be a really positive community, and that is definitely the aim. So make sure you join. But let's get into the nitty-gritty of it. So what exactly will it be? What kind of games will it be? What kind of apps will you be using? Because you're a unique four-wheeled tournament. So is it F1? Is it going to be any different types of cars? Give us a bit of a bit more of an explanation.
I guess ultimately it's going to be, depending on the level, would depend on the game that's going to be played and depend on the cars that will be used. So if you're a beginner, you're probably going to be looking at something like Forza or Gran Turismo. But more advanced, you're probably looking at iRacing, and people probably with a full rig and a setup from that sort of side. So really depends on where you are as to where you're going to fit in. But as Carrie has said so eloquently, we are open for everybody, and that's really what this is about. And I would say, I'm sure there's plenty of people out there thinking, oh, I'm not really sure I could do that. Please don't be shy, and please do come and have a go, and please do engage, because I think there's plenty of opportunity no matter where you are on the spectrum.
I think as well with sim racing, one of the other things we're keen to highlight is that it's not just about drivers. There's much like motorsport, there's so many different opportunities and potential jobs, or ways to get involved, such as helping out on social media, getting involved as community managers. So while we're very keen racers from our motorsport background, there are other roles as well that we're keen to help people realize and get involved with if they want to, or just discover the wide breadth of opportunities within sim racing and esports as well. I read a really good stat today that over half of the gamers in the world are women, but actually professionally we're still such a small percentage. So I think much like we were seeing in motorsport, where more women are not just cropping up in roles, but legitimately in paddocks, that will start to happen in sim racing as well. But first of all, we need to start showing people what sim racing is like and what the industry is like, and getting people in the front door.
Yeah, definitely. So there are many opportunities for all of you guys to get involved. We've had someone ask, how is it, will it be easy to become a presenter or a commentator? Will you have a space for guys to try out those different roles?
I think, as Carrie said, I mean, very much we support STEM in a big way. We actually have Green Power Education Trust as one of our clients, but we also work for them as well, and as a partner. And I think having people come through education, focusing on the science, maths, technology side of it, they're interested in engineering, that's one side of it. But that doesn't mean to say also, like you say, with presenting and things like that, we have Louise Beckett as part of our team. Louise is pit lane reporter in the World Endurance Championship, also runs an agency called Loudspeaker. So plenty of experience and opportunities for people to get involved in those sorts of industries, or those aspects of the industry rather, and we have broad experience across the board. So yeah, certainly I think in terms of helping people to determine where they want to go and what sort of area within motorsport they want to work in, or they're interested in working in, then yeah, we've got a pretty strong and broad team.
Yeah,
that's fun. Oh, go on.
I would add to that that experience then means that if people do want to come to us and ask for help, that maybe that could then lead to people becoming our commentators on our tournaments or our presenters, as you said. So really keen to get people in on that aspect of sim racing as well.
Yeah, so there are many opportunities for all of you guys to get involved. If you're not keen on sim racing or esports just yet, you can still get involved with pHorum7 as it is driving such positive change. And then maybe we'll see you in a tournament eventually. But how are you guys going to help bridge the gap between sim racing and sim racing esports and that side of things with real life motorsport? Because I feel like sometimes it can be a little bit difficult for people to see the importance and the what's the word I'm looking for? See the importance of esports and sim racing in the overall world of motorsport, because they are very closely aligned.
It's really interesting because I actually worked with Jenson Button in his first ever race in Australia many moons ago. And one of the questions that came to him at that time from a journalist was, how do you know the track? And he had actually been racing on the track using a simulator. You know, it is, I think that is absolutely the way that people do get into motorsport and can learn. And I think we'll be seeing more and more of that. And as I said at the beginning, I very much see a hybrid racer type of career coming up for people that you know, are able to race both sim racing and real motorsport racing. But there's plenty of money to be made on sim racing in its own right as well. So you know, from a career perspective, you know, there's definitely opportunity.
Yeah, and once you start to get to that really professional level, that's when the rigs you're using really are very closely aligned with actual racing. Of course, it's never going to be exactly like what it's like to be in a Formula One car or a single seater, but the skills you learn on a sim are transferable to real world racing. I have worked with Norbert Michelis, who is widely called the first gamer turned racer, because he first won an esports tournament and then was given an opportunity to drive a car, and now he's, you know, World Touring Car Cup winner in 2019. So it can be done, but it's still quite rare. And so far, you know, he's just one example, but we're keen to get more people into sim racing initially, and showing that actually the real world links to motorsport are there. It is doable, and it's one avenue for people that might not have been accessible before.
Fantastic. And I think what these wonderful women are proving is that there are so many avenues to basically getting involved with motorsport. They both had very all about ways of getting there, and you could have the exact same thing. And that's the exact point of pHorum7 right now, is to offer opportunities for you guys to all get involved. So I am promoting them like crazy, but make sure you guys go and get involved, because this is going to be a fantastic thing and you don't want to miss out. Make sure you're getting in questions. We haven't really had any come in yet, but oh no, we've got a couple come in. So we have a congratulations on launching. So let's talk about the sustainability aspect of things. So sim racing is great in terms of social sustainability. What do you think needs to be done in terms of environmental sustainability and sim racing in regards to data centers, and how are you incorporating this into pHorum7?
Mean to go, Carrie?
Oh,
yeah. No, so it's a really good question, and I think, you know, obviously being carbon neutral and being sustainable is a massive thing right now, and obviously looking at working with partners that have the same values and have the same ethos. You know, that's what it's about, and I think going forward it's going to be more important and increasingly important. I was also going to say, actually, just on another point, that we actually are launching with a partner called D-Box. So D-Box are the official licensed partner of the FIA for haptic technology. So haptic technology, going back to Carrie's point about some of the simulators, it allows either cars or chairs to be moved in the same way as a seat would be when you are sim racing. And they've come traditionally from cinema seats and theatre seats, where, you know, you could have a really great cinema experience, but yeah, they're now really focused on esports as well, and we're delighted to be launching with them as one of our partners.
Carrie, anything to add?
Yeah, I would say, as Claire said, with our partners, we're really keen to get people in who share our views on really driving change within esports. And, you know, there are a lot of initiatives out there that are, you know, also trying to do the same, which is great. And I think any sort of drive to try and get the industry to be more inclusive and get people who wouldn't have had the opportunities beforehand into esports and sim racing is great. And that's why that we're looking for partners who share those values and are really going to help us with our mission to do that.
Fantastic. Well, that's a fantastic question. We have another one that's just come in. So would pHorum7 consider doing apprenticeship type things for young people wanting to get into esports? Not necessarily racing, but the other side, like social media marketing. Claire, I know you have a lot of experience in the marketing sector. So do you want to take the lead on that one?
Absolutely. I mean, as a business, so as SQN, the business I set up 20 years ago, and now as pHorum7, we definitely are always open to giving opportunities. You know, we have people come in doing work experience with us from the local schools and things like that. So yeah, absolutely, always keen to help people get a run, you know, a foot on the ladder, a run on the ladder. You know, I always feel really lucky that I had a few people helping me in my early part of my career, and we are absolutely of that ilk as a company across both SQN and pHorum7.
Carrie, anything to add?
I would sort of just echo that and say, I think all of us have had those moments of someone just showing us the way, and that has really helped us. So I think we're aware that how much that's affected our careers and helped it for the better. So you know, a lot of, again, coming back to the ethos of pHorum7, it is the sort of giving it back and putting goodness back into the world again. So anyone who's interested in maybe coming in to have a go or to learn a new skill or to see how it all works, you know, get in touch with us and we will see what we can do.
And with regards to getting involved, is it all going to be online, or will there be potentially in-person things as we see the world start to open up again? Will we ever get some in-person events? Because that would be fantastic to see all of these like-minded people join together for a fantastic event like this.
Yeah, absolutely, Steph. And, you know, obviously COVID aside, that would be our objective. So definitely. And then that goes back to different levels of tournaments, and, you know, having people come along and maybe having some rigs set up and so people can just have a go. So that would definitely be one of the things that we'd be aiming for at different times in different places, to help people try and buy, if you like, you know, just come and have a go, see if they like it, and then if they do, they can obviously go away. We can help them work out what equipment they might need to buy, and get them on the path.
And with the professional tutelage that's going to happen via, is it all going to be via Twitch? Will there be one-on-one sessions? I'm just thinking about anyone who wants a little bit more time to develop and improve, and those guys that may not be very experienced but want to get a lot better. How will that be working?
So we'll be doing probably a weekly Twitch stream. Where I will be coached by my colleague Francis, who is a more experienced sim racer than me. But also because it's going to be live streamed, it means people can get involved and ask us questions, and that'll be useful because Francis can answer in real time. And we'll also get him on streaming by himself, giving some tips on how to really make the most of improvements really quickly and get yourself up to speed. So that, I think having that sort of interaction with our community is going to be really helpful for people who are maybe really a bit not reluctant, that's not the right word, but people who are needing just a bit of guidance or, you know, a bit of help with getting started. I think that's going to be really useful. So it will be on Twitch, which is live, and then we'll take that and put out some content on our YouTube channel that's slightly more condensed and will hopefully be really useful and really digestible.
So that YouTube channel is again pHorum7.
Yes.
Make sure you guys keep your eyes out. What sort of games are the best ones to get involved with? What's a good entry level one to start with for somebody who might never have driven or done esports or sim racing again? What are the different levels?
Yeah, so I mentioned earlier that Forza and Gran Turismo would probably be one of the sort of initial games that you might want to play if you're just starting out. But Assetto Corsa is also one of the more advanced games that is really popular, and needs a bit more setup, a bit more tuning, but is certainly one of the games that is most prevalent in the space. And then, as I said, then you get to iRacing, which is obviously a higher level again and more expensive to participate in.
Yeah, iRacing, if any of you are aware, that's the one that Max Verstappen and Lando Norris like to do quite frequently. So there you go. If you're working your way up there, you might end up competing with Lando and Verstappen when you become an expert. So that's a great game to start with. Could you recommend any other ones for anyone who is looking to get involved, for them to practice?
I think there's going to be another webinar in a few weeks' time with Codemasters, and they actually have two really good games as well. Their F1 game and their Dirt Rally series are really accessible, not too expensive. I fell out with my brother on F1 over Christmas last year during lockdown. So that, one, they're good just to have fun and get to know gaming if you've never even tried gaming, but also to build up a bit of experience, getting yourself on air, learning how the car works, how to set it up. Obviously mine was obviously on automatic mode to start with, but you can start to play around with the settings to make it a bit more difficult, a bit more realistic, shall we say. So those are really good entry-level games as well.
Fantastic. Now, make sure if you are wanting to ask any more questions, you start getting them in now before we come to the end of the session. So don't miss out on this fantastic opportunities. So yeah, make sure you pop any that you have down in the box below. But you guys mentioned earlier on that you want to champion STEM and women and underrepresented communities to be able to get into the science, technology, maths, engineering aspect of things. What advice can you give to any sim racers who want to transfer their skills over into maybe an engineering or a more technical position in motorsport in the future?
I think, well, Claire and I were discussing how STEM is both really close to our hearts. My father was an engineer, so I really grew up around that background, quite technical, and then deviated away from it completely myself, but have found myself coming back full circle, both with Green Power Education Trust, one of our clients we mentioned before, and also working in motorsport. So I would still, say STEM is still really broad, and yes, there's technical careers within that, but there is also what we do in the marketing, PR, comms, sponsorship as well. So it's just, I think, becoming aware of the sort of the breadth of roles within it. But it's one of the things we have to get people to see it, or else they're not going to be able to believe that they can be that. And that's crucial to getting to the underrepresented groups who I only knew about engineering because my dad was an engineer, and I was really lucky. There are loads of people who would never have come out, if they don't have family friends who so they can see what an engineer looks like, they won't know that they can be an engineer. And I think that's the same for STEM. It's the same for motorsport and for esports and sim racing. You really do have to see it in order to be able to think, actually, I can do that too.
Well, I think if you see it, you can believe it, right, Carrie?
Exactly.
So I think I can't really give advice as someone who's, I do work in a technical career in a different sort of caveat of what it can be. But I do think just it's also on us who work within those industries to get out there and get the message out of what the different roles are and how it all works, to get people interested in the first place.
Yeah, and I think I think it also goes back, Carrie, to what you said at the very beginning about following your passion. So, if you're interested in maths, then follow that route. And as Carrie said, you can always take a turn and could end up in the motorsport space, because, there are plenty of opportunities, that would come around if you've actually, gone down a certain avenue and you were able to apply that into motorsport. There are degrees out there, motorsport engineering degrees, Oxford Brookes, Hertfordshire, I think, both do motorsport engineering degrees. If you don't want to go down that and you go down another sort of technical route, but there are opportunities to transfer those skills, and do something like I did. Back away in the day, I wanted to work for HP. I knew I wanted to work for HP, so I went in a role that actually wasn't necessarily the role that I wanted to do long term, but I wanted to get a foot in the door. So it's sometimes thinking a bit strategically about your decisions. and thinking, okay, you might want to work for, I don't know, Ferrari or something. How could you perhaps even go and work in a Ferrari showroom that actually gets you into the company, that then gives you the opportunity to move around? And I think those are the things that people don't necessarily think about. You think you've got to go into a certain avenue, but there is opportunity to move and to be flexible. But also, I think the other thing is also finding mentors. And I think that's a really important thing. So just going back to, if you can see it, you can believe it. And I think, finding people that are perhaps doing the sort of job that you're interested in, following them, seeing what they're doing, having the opportunity to go to events like this where they may be speaking, or other opportunities to get engaged with them, whether it's through social, and really follow what they're doing and see what they're doing and how they maybe got to where they got to, as a pathway for yourself as well.
Fantastic. So will you be offering any mentorship schemes potentially? I know that kind of part ties in a little bit with the apprenticeship situation, but will there be any opportunities for aspiring sim racers to maybe partner up with someone with a little bit more experience?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's part of building the community. We'll be able to, pair people up. Obviously, as you said, we're working with Johnny Molam. Johnny's got great experience racing, and obviously can bring a lot to that as well. But obviously, as we bring more sim racers into the community, then that is something that we would like to be able to offer to people as well.
Fantastic. We have another question that has come in, and it is, have you partnered up with any anti-cyberbullying partners, especially considering the issues that are persistent with women in the gaming and motorsport community in general?
We haven't as yet, but it's certainly on our radar, and it's some discussions that we've been having. So we weren't there ready for the launch to have that announced, but yes, certainly we're very aware of the issues, very, very close to our hearts in terms of making sure that, as Carrie said, what pHorum7 stands for is completely the opposite of cyberbullying. So clearly, absolutely something that we are very serious about.
And we have some moderators within our team who will be sort of keeping an eye on our community, making sure everyone's abiding by the guidelines and our ethos, and making sure that it is really a safe space for people who would be put off by maybe some of the other things that we've seen in the gaming industry, particularly in the BBC report that came out today about why some people at grassroots were really put off by esports. And we want to make sure that we tackle that with our initiative. And so to start with, our moderators will always be there monitoring what's going on, but as Claire said, hopefully we can partner with someone who can help us on our mission as well.
Definitely. So you guys have there are lots of opportunities for these guys to be partnering with people going forward. So they are just at the beginning, and there is much more to come. Another question, and this came from Sophie, do you have any tips for staying motivated in general? If someone's starting out sim racing and they're not doing very well, it can be very easy to just say, oh, I'm going to give up, I'm never going to go anywhere. So how do you best advise to keep yourself going?
Carrie, I think you're best to answer that with the gravel traps.
Yes. As someone who gets very easily when I'm not good at something, I appreciate the issues in keeping the motivation high. And the piece of advice I was given was you just have to keep going. You have to keep trying. The more often that you pick yourself up, put yourself back in the scene, have a go, that's how you're going to get better. And it's never going to be a straight linear path, as we've spoken about many times today. And there's always knockbacks and setbacks. And sometimes you're having an absolutely amazing day. You get back in again and you're like three sessions worse again. So it is just about making sure you're still having some fun. I think if you're getting really frustrated and not enjoying it, maybe walk away for a bit, because ultimately we want people to have fun doing this. It's not necessarily just about competing and being a professional sim racer. It's about giving some people something they're passionate about that maybe they've not experienced before. So just remember why you're doing it, make sure you're having fun doing it. And give yourself some slack if you, like me, end up in the gravel traps every lap.
I think that's good advice for anything as well. Just keep yourself motivated. If whatever you're doing is just not working, take a step back. So Carrie, out here with the life advice. Right, does anyone have any more questions before we wrap this up? I mean, I'm asking everyone, but they're not going to answer me. So pop them in the chat below. But I just want to say a big thank you to both Carrie and Claire for coming on and giving their time anyway. Do you guys just want to do a quick rundown of where everyone can find you and find all of the information that we have given in this webinar? Obviously, it has been recorded and will be put on the Facebook group, but where do we find Forum7 on social media?
Carrie, you can answer that.
So our handle will be pHorum7 across everywhere, and that's spelled pHorum7. We also have a website that launched today, which is pHorum7.gg, where we have a bit at the bottom where you can sign up to our newsletter. We'll be hopefully doing a monthly newsletter letting you know our news and our new partners and the status of our tournament. But also, as I said, get involved with us on Discord. We want to have chats with people. We want to have conversations. So we'll be as active as you want us to be. So find us there. And if, I think I speak for Claire as well, if any of you want to get in touch with us directly, please find us on LinkedIn and on Twitter, and we'll get in touch and see what we can do.
Yeah, always happy to help.
Yes, and these women are fantastic. They've been in the motorsport industry for years and years, and they have so much experience. So any questions that you may have, don't you forget to send them their way on social medias as well. But we are going to wrap it up here. But before we forget, I will just want to tell all of you that are part of the Girls on Track UK community about the Dirt 5 competition. So Codemasters is kindly offering a limited number of codes exclusively for you guys in the Girls on Track UK community, so that you can download a copy of the Dirt 5 racing game and allow you to engage with the virtual world of racing. So this is a great way to get involved in the esports that we've spent this whole webinar talking about. So these codes are available for Xbox, PlayStation, PC, and will be allocated on a first come first serve basis, and you guys just need to get involved by completing the Google form that will be, I believe, in the community Facebook page, so go down and have a little look there. And the deadline is the 10th of September, so you guys have a couple more days to get involved. But yes, this is fantastic for you and very exclusive, so make sure you guys get on board with that. But thank you so much to Girls on Track UK and Motorsport UK for making this event possible. Again, a massive thank you to Carrie and Claire. Guys, don't forget to go follow them and show Forum7 your support. It is a fantastic new company. So yes, all get involved. And thank you all for coming along, watching, listening, and sending in your questions. Once this webinar is done, there will be a link to a survey. So please complete that. Give us your feedback so that we can make these webinars even better for you guys in the future and tailor them to what you are looking to see. And look out for next month's event. I think we already mentioned there is something to do with Codemasters coming up, so make sure you keep your eyes peeled. But that is all we have to say. Thank you all so much for joining. Enjoy the rest of your evening and take care, everyone. Bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.